What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Commentary Position Podcast, episode number 2. Been a minute since we recorded. We did want to do something Monday or Friday-ish, but things happen. So this is kind of a weekly wrap-up type thing, weekly roundup. As always, my name is PTP, and with me we got G. How we doing?
Doing good, man. We're here. It's only been a week. It's only been a week. I mean,
Yeah, couple days. Had a lot of well, not as much as we thought would happen coming off of a very, very hot pay-per-view, but a little bit of foreshadowing, a little bit of progression happened over the course of Monday and Friday. So still somewhat a
yeah,
little bit to discuss.
definitely not. The anticipation level for Monday after the chamber was, I would
At an
say, pretty
all-time high.
high all around. And, the beginning and end, the beginning, I think a lot of people expected more. I certainly expected way more than what we got. I'm not saying it was all bad, but I had a little bit
Yeah.
of a toned down, you know, not quite Raw after WrestleMania type of a feel, but I thought after something that big,
They would have to follow up kind of crazy.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I get it. Rock's got things to do. Cena flew to Africa, I think,
Yeah, but I
after
think
the
he's
pay per
filming
view
currently. Yeah.
to film. So, and so
Yeah.
hey,
That is moments. But well, obviously, of course, like we're starting with Raw from, was it March 3rd? Um, Show started off like you said, kind of hot, picking up from where it left off at its peak with CM Punk coming out, and that was honestly one of his better promos since he's returned. Gave a lot
oh,
of the old feel back, just with the way he ripped into The Rock and Cena on
I'd argue it's his best since he's been back because it was more pipe bombish. It wasn't a pipe bomb
yeah,
necessarily, but it was more pipe bombish because he went after you know even going through you know going back to the Rumble and his thing with Seth.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ran them
He covered
down.
covered all bases.
He could have. He could. I mean, it is Punk. I'm glad they allowed him to throw in a bullshit. Um, because it needed that intensity. He could have come up with something better than bald fraud, but I'm not gonna hate. It's a nitpick,
Yeah,
but you know, like he foreshadowed him and Cena at some point. Um, obviously, I don't know if we'll ever get Punk Rock, but he certainly at least planted that it could.
yeah.
And
Which
I love the line, Becky Lynch, come get your man for because I'm going to put him in a wheelchair. That was great.
Oh yeah, you
That
better
was
see him before. You better hope you see him before I do, because if I see him, he's gonna be in a wheelchair.
yeah,
Crazy
that was
line.
that was fire. And then obviously, Seth's music hit. He comes out, Punk runs, they brawl. Apparently, for us non-US people, the feed continued and they brawled through the commercial break, so that added a little more intensity for the international viewers and the live audience. And then we come back and they're still brawling all over the place, and
Hmm.
people,
What's that is? That I didn't know.
yeah, apparently, yeah. So it carried on for a bit, which I mean, good on them considering because that probably might be tougher than having some matches that you have to like carry that on for that long. But yeah, apparently that's what happened. Then you come back from and they're still brawling and they finally get separated, and then you get that little part with Pierce basically telling Seth to stay in his bus. and putting the security out there and basically saying, okay, this is done next
Mhm.
week.
Yeah, but the next week they're getting a steel cage match, I believe, right?
Yep, yep.
And
Punk Rollins steel cage, which I would assume means it isn't going to be Punk Rollins at Mania.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I hope this is like respectfully, at least, I hope this is the blow off, at least for now, to where now Punk can be like, all right, bet, put the nail in the coffin, or if anything, shoot, you can have Seth finally get his victory, but maybe it's due to like say some bloodline interference, or like maybe Rock overhears what he said last week. They slammed the door on Punk's face or whatever, and now Punk has reason to go to SmackDown, cash in his favor. I hope it kind of goes in that direction, because if Punk wins and they drag this into Mania, for Punk, I feel like it's a disservice because he's came
I
back and done a lot, and he should be in the Mania main event.
I think I think more than likely Punk's going to at least be. I think they're going to probably set up a main event for night one that he's going to be in, but it's not going to be for the belt.
Yeah, but it's like
And
yeah,
I think
he's
it could be a triple threat match, and winner gets in because all three participants kind of got screwed and all want to be in the match, and the winner gets in the match, or or they have to, or even like I don't know. There could be a number of ways. Like the winner gets into the match, or they have to team up. Like maybe Seth turns, and it's like a tag match, and the winners get into the main event, plus avoid a stipulation. But the other side, kind of like last year where they did, where it's a stipulation where if the heels win, then you know they got bloodline rules, but they could not say bloodline rules necessarily unless they, you know, the high chief, the final boss, the Rock is like officially like, the bloodline, what's left of it adds to it, or they finally say he's been the one pulling the strings. Maybe that, but you could say like, no rules, high chief rules, or whatever they might call it. I don't know, but I don't think Rollins is going to win. To be honest, I don't think either one of them is going to win, which could lead to them going at each other, having another match at WrestleMania, or Punk gets involved and Rollins has his match with Roman. Because I think Roman is going to get involved in the match on Monday. At least maybe it's hope, but I'm getting, my gut is telling me Roman's going to show up on Monday, and because Punk threw him out at the Rumble, he's going to be mad at Punk because they're already uneasy anyway as it is.
yeah. Then the curb
I
stomp
understand.
afterwards.
And then what Seth did to Roman after, so now they already have the beef. So now Roman's pissed at Seth. I could see Roman getting involved in the match. The cage maybe ends up open somehow. I don't think he's going to rip the cage open, but I think he's going to show up. He could show up and spear one or both of them and be
Yeah,
standing tall, and then neither one wins, and then it leaves it open for a part three at Mania if that's where they go,
yeah. And like you said, like that triple
or
threat leading to the title shot
or
potentially.
Punk calls in his favor and maybe because Heyman has influence with you know Nick Aldis or whatever it is, or has favor with The Rock or whatever it might be, that Punk gets into the match, whether he ends up being, you know, because I'll explain that because I noticed something. that
Right.
a couple of things that could be foreshadowing. One, um, from the pay-per-view, I don't know if I brought it up, um, and then one I saw Friday. I don't know if it means anything, but at the pay-per-view, because now the going thing is that Rock did the 3 at Bad Blood in October, and that could have meant Cena. But what if it didn't? What if it meant 3 was like Rock's plan was 3 parts, or it was 3 people? Because at the pay per view, when he did the throat slash, it looked more like he did 2, not 3. So like maybe Rock or maybe Cena, excuse me, was one part of the puzzle, and now there's still 2 more pieces of the puzzle yet to come, whether it to destroy Cody or screw him or whatever it is the Rock is planning. What if there's 2 more parts of it? And that's what that means. Like that's 1 piece down, 2 more to go. And it could be anybody. You know what I mean? Could be
Yeah. That
could
is
he
like a
realign
potential opportunity for that.
could he realign with Roman? Could it mean something else? Could what I noticed on from last night, which I'll touch on, could that mean something? Because I
Mm.
noticed something. I don't know if you did, but
Yeah,
when we get to
I'm not really sure about it.
when we get to that part of Friday, because it's at the beginning of the when we get to SmackDown, it was literally at the beginning, and we'll see if you noticed. If not, I'll bring it up.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think I think Roman shows up on
Mm.
Monday
Yeah.
because
I definitely
I,
could
do-
see that.
I do. Because if you're gonna go, even if you're gonna go Roman Rollins, and
He was have to
it,
show up at some point throughout the course of
he's
the.
got to show up, and what better time to have him show up? Because Punk threw him out, who threw Roman out of the Rumble, which cost him his title shot, and they were uneasy as it was. And then obviously, him and Seth already had beef. Seth has had beef with him for years. And then after that, Seth curb stomped him twice and quote unquote put him out. So he's got
Yeah.
that. What a better time for him to show up and set up whatever he's possibly setting up is during when they're locked in a cage.
Yeah. No escape. He just
He
come
could help
in,
one.
do the
He
big
could help.
dog shit.
He could show up, ref bump, whatever it is, or the steel cage is no DQ or some whatever. We don't know. Roman could show up, spear Rollins, help Punk win, or he could just spear them both. It's a DQ. Match is thrown out. Nobody wins. And or like I said, maybe he spears Punk first, although he shouldn't. He spears Rollins first, which would mean Punk gets disqualified and Rollins technically wins by DQ, and then he spears Punk too. Or Superman punches him or something like that. Just be like, yeah, you threw me yet, you cost me my title shot. I got one for you too.
Yeah. Definitely could be a potential for that. I don't know why I got tired. Oh, never mind. How was after that? Oh, so next is Gunther and Otis. Obviously Gunther getting the dub. Not much to really go off until after the match was over because I believe Gunther was doing like a post match attack. Jey Uso comes out, tries to make the saves, but in turn gets put to sleep.
Well, yeah,
And
Jay comes out and he chases Gunther off, but then Theory and Waller get in and attack Jay. Jay fights them off, and then Gunther sneaks up on him and puts him to sleep. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
now
fine for it was fine for what it was until Jay showed up, but I'll give him. Obviously, Gunther was going to dominate and win, but what are they doing with Otis? like Otis is a much should be a much bigger deal than he is, but they also kind of protect him because Otis did get some offense in.
Yeah, myself, I think it was a pretty beefy match or whatever. Otis, I
It
don't think
was
rarely gets squashed as much as he used to, which I think is a good
no,
thing.
he wasn't squashed. He got some offense in, and he looked like,
Yeah,
but yeah, it was
yeah,
fine
but
build.
but I kind of have this question where it's like I'm just kind of mesh it in between because they're basically the same thing. It just happened later. Now, the promo that Jay cut before he left, where he was saying everybody's doubting him, he doubts himself. I have a different theory about this whole situation. When it
Okay.
came down to Gunther and the Damian Priest situation, where Gunther kind of started to think and wonder, dang, can I defend my title against Priest? Because Priest kept beating him at every single turn, to where even the crowd would probably even think dang, is Gunther really like that? Can he beat this man? The fact that in a way, even though I feel like he's done this in the past, I feel like now there's more cracks in the armor for Gunther to where, okay, with the old Gunther have used Theory and Waller as a distraction to put his opponent to sleep? Or would he just stay in the ring, chop him up, and then do it himself?
Well, I mean, like I said, I think the Jay threw him off in a way to set it where he could sneak up on him. Because remember the week before, um, Jay ran, Jay Jay ran into Theory and Waller, and they kind of like had this little exchange,
Right.
and where Jay kind of like ran them down, even though I think it was what Theory did like a yeet or something like that, but like he kind of ran them down. So logically,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least
yeah,
there's some
yeah.
sense in it where they ran out and attacked him at a good moment.
Yeah,
Could
yeah,
it be?
for them to be involved made sense, and obviously, from their character, from a character perspective, they're usually jumping people from behind because they don't use they can win 1-on-1, but they usually jump people from behind. So for them, it made
Right,
sense.
and then
But for Gunther, it's
obviously
like you kind of jumped in a way to where it's like okay, it's like more or less the same thing. He's feeling more like a desperate champion than he has in previous runs with the IC belt, hell, even the UK title. He never
I
looked
think
desperate with those titles.
I think maybe it's definitely a perception thing.
Yeah.
Um, where because they're not really going with the like how Gunther said he's going to put Jay through 10 weeks of hell. Has he?
Yeah, what has he really done to put him through hell personally?
I mean, maybe there. I mean, based on Jay's promo, like
Yeah.
emotionally, where Jay is like, everybody's doubting me, and now I'm doubting myself. But you know, you awoke. I don't. Would you? I think he said you woke up a beast or whatever it is. Like now, Jay's starting to fire up a little bit, but
Yeah. But it's at this point it's like you're fire it's like to me I feel like he's not firing up on the same ring general from years past. Because after the Damian Priest stuff, it's it doesn't seem like he has that mystique, which everybody notices that, which is why most people are even predicting that Jay wins because this ain't the same Gunther. So 10 weeks of hell from a man who barely could beat Damian Priest or made Damian Priest seem like the almighty mountain to climb. I don't think this is really the same. I don't think this is the energy that they needed from the promo because
no.
how is he scaring him in storyline terms? How is he scaring him?
Um, the best bet is, I mean, obviously, the writing could be better, but
Yeah,
just the bet, the bet is basically like, well, he hasn't beaten him.
right.
He's gotten in his head. He's beat him down. He's put him to sleep. He's doubting himself. Everybody else is doubting that he can do it, and really what they should be doing. I mean, so there's a little bit to it, um, but yeah, I mean, like Jay's gonna win, and he's gonna have his like you know Daniel Bryan Kofi moment.
Right.
But what they should be doing is he can have his like here and there he should have his moment where he one ups, but the majority of the time, if Gunther's going to be doing anything on TV to anybody else but Jay, he should be completely annihilating them. He should be running Jay down, and then for the most part, Jay can get licks in, but Gunther should basically just be pounding him down, beating him down, beating him down, beating him down, beating him down to the point where some fans are like, Jay's not going to win.
Yeah, like to sell it a little bit more.
Yeah, there needs to be some believability. Like Jay's not going to win. Now, obviously, they could book it where Jay doesn't win, but that makes literally no sense to
Yeah,
do.
after all the hyping it up. But as far as like right now, like I said, like the way I'm looking at his storyline was, I don't see like it isn't like on some like Triple H Reign of Terror type shit where it's like you knew every week whoever Triple H was gonna have a match with, they were getting their ass beat. Like no ifs ands or buts about it. They were gonna run through a hurdle, a hoop and a half, and the Triple H music was gonna hit. And he's gonna beat the shit out of them. Like back then, you knew what was going down.
Yeah,
Now
you
it's
knew, but
like
I
yeah,
mean, Gunther should be.
they made him so human. It's like, damn, is it really like I said? Is it really the 10 weeks of hell?
Gunther should not just be coming out and cutting promos and running him down and telling him he can't win. You've never beat me. You never will. Yada yada yada. That's all fine and good, but
Put the
and
beats on
I
him.
don't I don't hate that. Like for example, this week, like Otis got a little offense in, but it's also a detriment because if you're going to have Gunther out there proving that he's unstoppable and a destructive force and show Jay that you have no shot of beating me. You're not going to beat me. You never have. You never will. Then he should be obliterating people instead of,
Yeah,
oh, these guys are getting, no offense. I'm not, this is no offense to Tozawa
of
the
course.
week before or Otis, but like little to no offense. And Gunther should be, like, he beat Tozawa in like 3 minutes. He should have beaten Otis in 2 or 3 minutes. Like, it should have been quick. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, there's that kind of aspect. But I mean, you could also play it like where you know Jay's resilience and Jay's never give up and Jay's still coming for you is getting into Gunther's head a little bit. Like you know he hasn't had somebody like this before who he keeps getting run down, who keeps being shown he can't win, who keeps getting beat by him and just won't stop.
Yeah.
So Gunther's maybe you know, on the surface level, looking a little more human because he doesn't understand why Jay just won't go away, why he won't stop because nobody's done it before.
Yeah.
So, but I if you're gonna present it that way the whole time. But
Exactly.
if
Yeah.
not, you need to make people believe that Jay's not going to win. And right now,
It's
Gunther
very
should be
much
out
the
there.
opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, Gunther should be out there running people over, running Jay down, and I'm not saying Jay should never get a lick in, but if it's 10 weeks of hell, Gunther should be beating him down at every opportunity. And then, a couple times between now and then, Jay could, I wouldn't say one up him, but like, Jay could make a save or, Gunther beats him down, but like, you know, Jay clotheslines him out of the ring or super kicks him out of the ring or comes at him with a chair or whatever, and runs him off, but not necessarily
Like
beats him
wins the
down.
battle. Yeah.
Yeah, but just runs. So like he's defiant and isn't giving up, but presented in a different way. Where like Gunther's a monster, and Jay's the one that's going to is going to rise up and slay him and do what nobody thinks he can do. But right now, everybody thinks he's going to do it.
Yeah. They're definitely gonna have to at least like from the better than I'm looking at that, it's like they have to definitely change something to make this seem like he's
It's
actually climbing the mountain.
either have Gunther on TV beating the piss out of people in 2 minutes, and not have Jay come out to rescue anybody every time because you don't necessarily have to do that, or you mix that in with Gunther just the dominant champion, running everybody down, running Jay down, telling him nobody thinks you can win, you can beat me, you can't beat me, you never have. you can't touch me, yada yada, to the point where Jay could run out and fight because he's had enough of hearing it. He's pissed off, whatever. He comes out to fight, but Gunther gets the best of him, and Gunther keeps getting the best of him until the match happens. And some people think, well, Jay's not going to win, but you also have the smarties who are like, okay, Jay keeps getting beat, keeps getting one upped, keeps getting one upped. He's going to win. He's going to overcome and win. So it's like almost like
it's a double-edged sword for them at this point.
Unfortunate. Yeah, because I mean the smartest fans, including us, is like Jay's winning. They're not doing this for Jay not to win. They could. I'm not saying they can't. They've done some more surprising things before. I mean, see last week where Jay could Jay could lose, but I mean Jay's gonna win.
Yeah.
But at least makes some people believe he's not. And right now you're not doing it. I mean, the seeds of doubt and all that, that's fine. That he can't do it and he hasn't beat Gunther, but Gunther needs to look unstoppable.
Yeah. And he has to sell this visual that Jay in promo has laid out for the average fan. He has to fulfill this this narrative, this hole that has been placed.
That everybody doubts he can beat Gunther. He even doubts himself for a minute, but he woke up a beast or whatever it is. But now Gunther needs to put that down. If he's supposed to make Jay's life hell until WrestleMania for wanting this match and going through with it, then that's exactly what he needs to do, and he hasn't done it. Yes, he put him to sleep Monday, but in a bit of a dastardly way, but Gunther needs to assert himself as the dominant champion that it looks like Jay can't overcome, that he can't beat. That's what they need to do. They still have time to do it. They can rectify it, but this wasn't that.
Yeah, like first step in right direction. Yeah, that's something different.
Because they almost made Gunther look like a cowardly heel in that, where he got knocked out of the ring, and then somebody else came in and distracted Jay, and then he just snuck up on him. He should have just. Jay comes out, tries to fight him, looks like he might get the best of him, and then Gunther just pounds him down and puts him to sleep. Like I told you it was going to be hell. This is what you're going to get, and I'm going to keep doing it until WrestleMania, and then at WrestleMania you're going to get it worse. And then sow the seed of doubt in some people that Jay is not going to win. Yeah. It's really simple.
Yeah.
But anyway, but
as an announcer.
So anyway, we can next up.
Lyra Valkyria and Ivy Nile for the women's IC title. Lyra wins the match. She had a leg injury at some point through this match. I've seen bits and pieces of this, but
they sold it. She sold it well.
Yeah.
She sold it, and obviously before that, like they had the Judgment Day thing, and like Liv setting up Raquel possibly to be next. And the whole, Finn with Braun, and once again they brought up new member.
Oh yeah, same thing. New member.
Could that be Alistair? I'm kind of not actually saying no, because I know the company thing now, but like trying to keep couples together. So I think Alistair's going to be on SmackDown. But if you've noticed, who's been the little devil in like everybody's ear?
Oh yeah, Raw.
Karrion.
And he's also playing mind games with AJ, which in theory, same thing. Like the Judgment Day wanted AJ from prior past.
So Finn gets the boot at some point, and Karrion's the new member.
Yeah. That's definitely also speaking of that because I think going to like I seen something on Twitter where they pointed it out. Have you ever noticed that Cross makes his hair resemble the next target that he has for each feud?
Yeah, I have noticed that. Yes,
Yeah, like when they said it, it threw me off because I'm like, wait a minute, like he had the pressed hair for AJ, he had he had the up down like man bun type thing for Sammy. It's like I did not think about that at all.
I I have noticed that, and you know what? That kind of like devil on the shoulder type of thing. It fits the Judgment Day brand, or a new look for the group, which I kind of think could
Yeah,
fit. Yeah,
because it would give them kind of like not completely the same, but kind of like the way Edge was running it initially, where it was more or less a battle of wits, and then if the physical had to match up with it, then of course, like it was doable. Cross is like a good mix between the mental and the physical aspect, being almost on par to where if he was leading a stable, which is why I'm so mad that the Final Testament didn't work out because that could have definitely been way better than it was, but he has that capability to like make people do what he needs to be done and but no one's going to give him his credit for laying down the foundation as to why
right.
this
The
is
planting
like
the the
yeah
planting the seeds, the devil on the soldier, the shoulder. I can't speak
yeah
apparently. The mind effing with people that fits Judgment Day. I mean, Liv does it.
exactly to the members of the
They,
group, so it's like
but
it's
they
like
also, but don't forget, they also did it with the Jade thing, where like they were in the shot and they almost played it off like, oh, I don't know how we got there, like the mind games, and then that's why a lot of people
yeah
thought that when Jade showed up, she was going to go after Liv because of the mind game. So it fits. Like the whole group could play mind games with people to get the advantage on them. It makes complete sense. It
yeah.
works.
'Cause you think about like if at any point it's still gonna like if they ever like kick Finn out and say it's like you got Carrion, you got Dom, you got Liv, that's
You could
three of
kick
the yeah
you could kick Carlito out and have somebody else to enhance join the group so that if they want to do tag team, if JD's not back, if JD's back, then is able to come back soon.
Yeah, but I said,
Then there you
yeah, I said
go.
you,
It's
you got
JD
yeah, you got four of the most dastardly minds on Raw in a faction. They could
and
make something
JD's
out of that.
and JD's got way more cachet now for what he did because the smart fans know what he did, so he's going to have way more respect to come back, even though he's just JD McDonough. He's still going
Oh
to.
yeah, he's putting in
They're
pain.
going to put. They're going to. They're going to push. So why not JD and Dom go after tag belts? Karrion could go IC at first, and then maybe insert himself in the bigger picture.
Yeah, work his way up on some yeah on some building block type thing. It's just it's
And
it's possible.
and JD could be the workhorse, not like the main guy, but he could be the workhorse.
Oh
They
yeah,
could turn
definitely.
him into the workhorse.
Especially in a team with Dom, I feel like if they give Dom kind of like what was it the Radicals back in the day. I mean, obviously it was a little bit different, but like I think Eddie and he who shall not be named, uh,
Yeah,
like when they were a team, bro, one was putting in pain, the other one could wrestle. Like Eddie wasn't a pushover, but Eddie used to cheat a lot, so it's like you could have that dynamic.
yeah.
That'd be some pretty good stuff. Uh, Let me see. Let's add to that. Oh, I think it was like a Ludwig Kaiser promo, and may I say, Kaiser is low key getting in my top five. Bro is
Really.
good. Like I don't know why. Like, cause I noticed it when he was in Imperium. His promo ability was already like up there to me as far as
Oh, it was.
how he sold like the importance of Gunther and just them as a team in general. But now since he's kind of doing his whole like singles run, proving himself type of thing, and they're just giving him time to go out there and just like build this hate and disdain from a fan perspective, he's knocking it out the park.
Yeah, yeah, he's certainly, I mean, certainly in the ring. Yeah, I had no problem with it. I'm not sure where it's going. I suppose if you want to talk about the negative, I don't know where it's going, what they're setting him up for, but Maybe this is some big intercontinental title thing or whatever at Mania. I don't know, but yeah, no, the
Yeah,
promo was good. The promo was good. He's never been bad. They just need to give him more.
yeah, and like the thing he's got going on with Penta, it also leads to like going back to when we were talking about like, the Mania stuff. Who knows? Like, there's a lot of different variables in a match pertaining to like LWO luchador esque people, and like at this point, Kaiser's having beef with Penta. Gable obviously has beef with luchadors, Penta included. They have a very interesting like opportunity as far as, do you put a bunch of people in a ladder match for the IC title to where this is like Braun's send off from the mid card division and now he goes into the world title, because Jay winning will obviously open the door for more people to come in? Or do you run the 6-man tag and you run the New Day stuff? Because like even though they're having a match next week, do you run the New Day with Kaiser in a 6-man, or do you run it with Gable? Like they got a lot of different things they can do
I would.
for Mania.
I'm leaning Gable because
Because of the dark
new
arts.
because New Day could beat um it's Ray and Dragon Lee, right?
Yeah, Ray and Dragon Lee.
Okay, like New Day could win, obviously, but not, the normal way, like
Right.
clean. But then, maybe they beat him down and Penta makes the save or whatever it is, and they do their lucha stuff on the New Day, and the New Day are frustrated, and then Gable shows up and it's just because of what he did, where he's learned the dark art of luchador and he can help them. Not teach them, but he can help them and he can beat them or whatever it is, and he'll team up with them, and you could do that, or he's just going to do it by himself. You
Yeah.
could go either. You could go either way,
Yeah. Because I feel like what
but
also
I
with
would.
Gable is like they could be like, oh, since it's like a deep rooted story as far as like he went to Mexico in story just to figure it out. I don't think you have to throw him into a match. Like you can like run that after Mania, have it on the Raw after Mania, and being like, oh well, I'm back from my excursion. I'm taking everybody down. Like you can build it up at any point, I think.
You could, or you could, before Mania he comes back, or it sets it up where you run these promos like they did, where he's learning the dark arts of luchador, and he comes back at Mania and just comes out and with the whatever mask it is. I would My guess is it's probably going to be like the Patriots mask, or it's going to be like Mr. America, because they want to like pretend Hulk Hogan isn't a
Doesn't.
thing.
Yeah.
But he's got like the Mr. America mask or something like that, and he's learned the dark arts, and he basically open challenges and says he can beat any luchador in the world, and that could be, because we know he's coming. That
Right.
could be Ray Phoenix.
Yeah.
Could be, maybe. I mean, like you said, there's
It's a lot of different
a
ways they
lot of
could take it.
there's a lot of possibilities, which is fine. But as time goes on, like, let's iron something out.
Yeah, like one path's going to become way more clear than the other, which is why I'm kind of interested to see what they do with the tag match next week. Because if anything, I'm thinking the LWO might win next week, just to kind of like propel them to do something else. But it's also, isn't it like a tornado tag on some no DQ, like
It's a
some,
it's a tornado tag, yeah.
yeah. So it's
So
like if
could there
that
be
case, uh,
interference?
yeah,
Let's go back to the New Day breakup, and
the whole
even
Biggie
when
stuff.
with Biggie saying that he wanted to manage them, he was going to be with them until he was cleared to rest. Why would you say that if you were never coming back?
Exactly. Like the New Day could have a completely different path line that doesn't even involve the OWO. So it's
Possibly, or they could have, a triple. They could have some kind of match at WrestleMania and whatever it is, and that's when Biggie comes back,
yeah.
and to set them straight, and he basically takes them both.
Yeah, kind of like a separation type thing. Like, oh, like Biggie takes out the New Day, sets up for that, and then like I said with the whole Gable and the mask, it's like while the LWO's in the ring, like yeah, go get him. Gable comes in, flips out, and now it's like, oh well, now we have no answers now. Like it's a couple things they can do.
There's a lot. There's a
Uh,
lot. Yeah.
what's nice? What's nice? The War
At least
Raiders
there's,
and American Made.
uh,
Wait, so what?
but at least but that's still there's a lot to talk about because we don't know, and it's
Yeah,
fun to talk. It's fun to talk about all the possibilities because we don't know.
yeah. Revolving door.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie.
Uh,
This tag match was good to me at least.
it was good. Not much different from the last one they had.
Right.
Solid tie, solid teams, and American Made should have been moved to SmackDown. I got to be honest with you, but
It's either that or at some point I wouldn't have been mad if the War Raiders had a dropped. Like
I
the way
wouldn't have.
the
I
way
would.
American Made looks like they're like the strongest out of Gable's collective. Like obviously Ivy's not a pushover, but the Creed brothers are definitely the crown jewel of this faction.
Yes, and
Like
and Gable literally said, "When I come back, I expect you guys to have gold." But it's like now, what do? You put yourself in a corner where the Creeds have had two shots recently, lost them both. How do they expect to get another and then win?
yeah.
And then what do you do with the Raiders if they do win?
Yeah, like do you move the Raiders? Do the Raiders just like there's a lot of different things. Like a lot of things they probably might. It depends on like what they want to do. Cause even then, like I can't even tell like there's many tag teams on Raw that can fill the void if they were to move the War Raiders on anything, or if they wanted to move the War Raiders onto anyone anyway. Because what like they've kind of killed Wild and Del Toro for me because they were a great team in NXT and in the early stages of them being on the main roster, but now they're just LWO
There,
members. Yeah, they're just
they're
on the
just
just
there.
yeah, they're just on TV. So it's not even like I can say,
Yeah,
oh yeah, Cruz Del Toro and Wild. Like they'll probably put on a banker with the War Raiders, but will I take it seriously? Probably not. Which is a messed up thing to
yeah. Like,
say, but
will the fans care?
yeah. And it's like maybe hopefully you would think like oh Dragon Lee being back builds that up a little bit more. Because I mean obviously people like Dragon Lee. So maybe Dragon Lee makes them more credible because they like Dragon, they like Ray. Could be that, but
Yeah, could be. And now you got what are they doing with Theory and War? Like, are they a team? Are they going to break up? Like,
yeah, I didn't know they were on. I didn't even know really why they were on Raw until I guess like 'cause I remember they were on NXT because they wanted Oba's belt, but then they ended up on Raw somehow. So I mean, I really don't know what they're doing with A Town Down Under at this current moment. So that could also lead to a lot of things. I mean, if they're still a team, then you still have them to lean on, but they still need a lot more for their tag team division to be. I mean, like American Made and the War Raiders are definitely probably like at least right now, because I mean the New Day is doing like a lot more story work than tag work right now. So they're like the War Raiders and American Made are like 1A, 1B when it comes to like working for the tag belts.
mhm.
Who else is really like climbing the ladder to be like, oh yeah, this team is just waiting to have a title shot? It's not many.
No, what? I mean, at least SmackDown is trying, although with
But
their
even if
teams,
yeah.
it's just, but like nobody cares about any of them.
But the thing with SmackDown though is that at least with Smack, and then we'll get more into this like when that comes along. But they're at least their tag division has always been stacked. They just weren't showing all of them, which I thought was SmackDown's problem. It's like with Raw, it was they played around the Judgment Day situation for at least the majority part of the earlier tenure of the championship being the new belts really. That they got to a point to where okay, if the Judgment Day aren't in the realm of tag team titles, who really is going to take the reins of it? The War Raiders come back. Obviously, people know the War Raiders are good. American made. People like the Creed brothers. After that, there's no. Oh, and maybe the LWO, depending on which formation of the group you give. But outside of that, it's like where are we heading with their division as a whole? Which is why at this point, if Phoenix does show up, at this point, Penta might have to go to the tag team division because who else is credible? Kind of like
Oh,
how the
Lucha
Motor City Machine
Bros.
Guns. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like how the Motor City Machine Guns kind of repair the SmackDown division. You could throw a lot of people in there with Shelly and Sabin, and you're gonna get a good match the majority of the time. Penta and Phoenix might be that type of scenario for Raw where they make people become teams, or they just give the teams that are in the division a lot better chance, more chances to have banger matches.
Yeah. Yep.
But they haven't really done anything crazy with Penta yet. I mean, he's obviously feuding with people, but he hasn't done anything crazy yet. So
Not yet.
if you bring his brother in at Mania, and it's like, all right, bet we're getting the Lucha Brothers, no one's gonna really complain and be like, oh, you're burying Penta because nothing started yet.
Somebody might. Somebody might because
Yeah,
he's been
sadly, someone will.
getting the better of people and winning his singles matches, so they might. But that it also could be build him up as a big deal, and the smart people know his brother, but those who don't, when his brother comes in and aligns with him, his brother is over automatically because he's with him.
Yeah,
And then it's like, oh, they're a team. Oh, what can they do together? If we already know what Penta can do by himself, what can they do together? The handful that don't know. I mean, let's be honest. People are smart, and I know there's tribalism, but there can't be
yeah,
that many people who are loyal to WWE and don't watch any AEW and don't know who Penta and Phoenix are or anybody else. I mean, come on, let's be honest.
exactly. It's like like for those that haven't like, no, I'll put it this way. I'll just put it in the air. If you haven't seen a Lucha Bros match from AEW, Impact, hell, where else have they teamed up at? I don't even know. PWG, I don't know. If you haven't seen any match from them as a unit, like you don't, I feel like they don't have a right to have an opinion on what they do with Penta at that point. Because like them as a team, which obviously initially like was the plan anyway,
Mm-hmm.
before Khan started like being like, oh, Phoenix has to fill up for injury time. The plan was to have two tag teams come in and reshape the divisions, which desperately needed it. One part of the equation is done. The other part still has to be fulfilled, and I'm pretty sure Triple H still wants to do that because you can't just keep having the War Raiders and American Made kill each other every week. I mean, you could, but as far as like other teams in the division, like Alpha Academy, they're doing singles matches more often than not. JD's injured, so Judgment Day's out. The New Day are feuding with the LWO, so that is not title related. Who else do you have?
Yeah, I mean they could. Lucha Bros at least temporarily
Yeah,
get
and
things
then
popping,
obviously,
and then
because if
I
anything,
don't know.
like, if anything, I feel like NXT call ups are definitely gonna like at least for tag teams. Frazier and Axiom kind of have to go to Raw at this point.
Yeah,
They kind of have to, at least with the direction they're
Fraxium
going with it.
Fraxium needs to be a thing because they are arguably the best tag team. Period. Anywhere
Oh yeah,
right now.
they're putting on bangers. Like Fraxium probably is almost like a lock for Raw because they desperately need it. And then like they're probably the only team that's like ready to me because like OTM I don't think is ready. Um, shoot, what
Well, yeah.
else is
Why
on
they?
there?
Of course they should go
Oh
to
yeah,
Raw. I mean,
oh yeah.
Smack.
The D'Angelo family might need a call up too. Like it depends.
Well, at least Tony.
Yeah, I
I
mean
mean, not all of
I
them,
feel like
but Tony first.
yeah, I feel like because Stacks and I forgot what the other guy's name is. Oh, Crucifino. Yeah, like Stacks and Crucifino, they're not bad, but
No, no.
yeah,
Fraxium absolutely, and that would be Raw. I think SmackDown has the teams and could cobble together another one. The only problem is is it's the story, and the fans aren't invested in anybody.
Yeah.
Like the Profits should be more over than they are right now. They've been around a long time and they've changed characters. They should be more over. Why the hell does nobody care about the machine guns? They're friggin' amazing, but they don't talk a lot. And
And that's where the
not
problem lies, as far as like they can talk because obviously, I mean, if you know, you know.
and
He,
and obviously, Pretty Deadly should have a different name and a makeover, but they can talk and they sure as hell can go in the ring.
yeah. So even though Los Garzas,
Yes,
Humberto and Angel are some of the best wrestlers on SmackDown,
and the
and when they're
best and they well, when we get to Friday, they finally did something sort of like a story
oh yeah,
for all of them.
I definitely get into that because that
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
interested in that for sure.
yeah, yeah.
But just to wrap up Raw, because there is only one real last thing. Because I mean, obviously we covered the Braun Breaker Judgment Day failed
Yes,
ambush. We covered
we
those.
covered Gable and his buying the mask in Mexico for the dark dark arts.
Right.
Yes. So, and
We
obviously they showed the Cena turn 5,000 times because
oh yeah, to
nobody
sell
was
it.
going to
Yeah.
show up because nobody was going to be there.
Yeah. And also
But
they also I think they announced that even though Cody wasn't there on Raw, that Cody would be there obviously on SmackDown, as we'll get
correct.
to that eventually. But oh, then I think before that we also seen Bianca came out because she wanted to watch the eventual main event, which was Iyo Sky versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's World Championship. And I didn't expect anything less from these two women because almost every single time they've had a singles match, it's been
I
a
expect
memorable one.
I expected more.
Hmm?
I think they flubbed a couple.
Uh,
I think they flubbed a couple. They flubbed a couple.
oh yeah, it's been a
They did
while since they've been in a ring together because I think like should their last match was like what NXT 1-on-1 I think.
probably. I think, but they
Yeah,
flubbed a little. But I'm not gonna hold it against them. The Rhea going into the post shoulder spot clearly was a boo boo
right.
because she almost like delayed it and then was like, oh shit,
She
and
had it.
then
Yeah.
and then and then and then did it. I expected more, but I will say what I thought was going to happen didn't.
They throw Rich in the plans, and it's like
Well,
uh,
I thought Rhea. I still think they're going to end up in the same
a
spot.
same spot, different route.
Yeah, I thought Io would get somehow screwed, especially once Bianca came out there, uh, and they did the shoving thing. They could have easily done but maybe Liv and Raquel get involved. Something like that was going to screw Io again, and then there'd be no choice but to like Io screwed again, and Io gets put into the title match at WrestleMania in a triple threat, and Io wins there. But they got me.
Yeah, and they also played into the fact that obviously this is what I didn't really think much of, but I didn't really mind them playing into it. Rhea had never beaten Io, and even still currently has never beaten Io in a one-on-one match. That
That's
in
correct,
itself, yeah, that in itself. Now, although they are known for breaking streaks, like it's not uncommon,
of
but
course.
yeah, but in this scenario, Io technically had all the leverage in the world to win this title. But obviously, most people probably would have
And
assumed, Rhea would
and the little
overcome it.
and the subtlety of Rhea's being distracted
Yeah,
by
which yeah,
Bianca, and Bianca not even doing anything to get in her head, but getting in her head, and Rhea being mentally vulnerable,
yeah,
where where it
she
got
almost
to the
beat
point
herself.
where
She
she's
almost beat
like
herself.
where she was like, they had the push outside, the trash talking, and then near the end, where Rhea basically had it won, she had a momentary pause and said, "I'll see you at Mania," and gave Io the opening she needed.
Yeah,
Like took her focus off, and Iyo hits the Hurricanrana,
Over the moonsault.
the over the moonsault, gets the win. Iyo is the
Yeah.
champ. Now,
What they do,
does
and then
Rhea
like,
do they do the normal? Well, former champ gets a rematch thing, or does she do something? Does she cause destruction to get until she gets put in the? I don't know, but she's going to be in it. But I did like
they're
to
gonna find
notice
a way.
the little tidbit at the end played it in the mental aspect of it, where
Oh,
right
her
before
like
I think right before,
her audio.
yeah, it's like smacking herself like stupid, stupid. I think that's what she
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, like
Stupid, stupid. Like,
she's saying stupid. She's an idiot. How could she do this? Like just like, and then even like I don't know if you've seen her promo afterwards with Jackie backstage. It
I don't. No, I don't. I
yeah,
don't think I did actually.
yeah, it was like an online exclusive or whatever. I honestly think, and this is like kind of the same thing that people kind of say about Charlotte, where it's kind of like it's like there's some characters that they don't have a good balance between dominance and vulnerable and being able to be vulnerable and like show that vulnerability in a way to where now you actually feel for the character or the character now has layers. When Rhea did her interview with Jackie, where it was basically she kind of just reflected on all the things that she has had a problem with in the past, which was her staying focused and not letting her emotions get in her matches. And she did it again. She thought she had a friend. She said friends aren't real. And it just gave a whole new perception to, like, they said, even Jackie brought it up. Damien's gone. She's out of the Judgment Day. She has nobody. It's just her. And she's basically saying this is something she has to work on. And it's, she needs time to reflect on what it is that she's even doing. That in
Yeah,
itself, it's like one of those, like, it was like a little thing to where just, even when she lost, they found a way to develop her character, and it was perfect. And
correct.
even because even they even said somebody brought up like maybe like the revenge tour. Liv might have had a long term plan. Like everything was taken away, and then like that everlasting mental battle of her not having any backup, not having anybody to go to after she loses the belt, it just being her in that locker room. Nothing's there. Like, what does she do now when it's just her? Like how most other women have been on the roster in the past at some point, where it's literally just you, and you got to deal with that on your own. Like when you lose, you only going back to yourself. It could
Yep.
definitely shake up some things for, like, who knows? Rhea could probably win it back at Mania, and after that promo, I wouldn't care. It would seem kind of stupid long term because EO is obviously that good, but after that promo where it's like this could be a turn of character. This would be a character arc for her to where, okay, now she becomes the force that people want her to be, or that she can be, that she really has never been completely, because her emotions at some point get in the way for a specific challenger or a specific like problem.
Yeah.
So it was good. If for anybody that listens to this, if you haven't seen it, I would go back and find it because it was some of her best work, honestly. It was she talked about the Bianca, her coming up with Bianca, and just basically just selling the whole. She thought she had a friend, and that's all it takes in this business to turn a somewhat good person into a determined warrior of sorts. So
Hmm.
yeah, we'll see you next week with Raw. Hopefully, they kind of definitely follow up with that. But
At
who knows? Yeah,
It's going to be a show. Come on, it's you.
yeah, I'm gonna say
It's
like
not just going to
yeah.
be that main event. It's MSG. It's Madison Square Garden.
Oh yeah, they're
It's
gonna
their
have to
home.
cook.
They better.
Yeah, like hopefully, because they're gonna have to cook, especially after like all the stuff they pulled. At least like down the stretch, like Raw had bits and pieces where you could say, okay, like yeah, I like what they're doing, and then there's sometimes they're just like, okay, this makes no sense. Like you need to do
Oh,
more.
and anybody who's listening, I just want you to know. You can tell me I'm right afterwards, but I'm calling it. I'm saying it. I'm putting it on the books. Roman on Monday.
Oh, we're locking
I'm
it
just
in.
going. I'm locking it in. Roman's showing up Monday. Yes.
Mm, hey.
Roman's showing up Monday and Friday.
Double duty. The full timer gig.
It'll be a rarity, but I'm gonna call Roman on both shows.
Yeah,
Yep.
interesting. And shoot, what's next? Oh, I said what's next. SmackDown.
SmackDown.